Hello everyone, guess who's recording this video for the third time? It's me! It's definitely me. Okay. First off, this video, and enjoy this title card, you're going to be looking at it for a while. I'll just tell you that now. This video is going to be the first in a series. If you don't know what Trifusions are, I decided to come back to this to be able to do something kind of short-term before I start another major project animation thing for someone. So, in this case, I decided, you know what's hot right now? Children being killed in the streets looking for imaginary animals. That's hot right now. May as well do something with that. Big mistake on my part, because wow, did that ever turn into a mess in and of itself. To explain all this, I made many different polls on Twitter. I looked at other polls people had made about popularity, which Pokemon are the most popular, what kind of types people like. I also evaluated what are the things that I like inside of the design of these things. I'm not a big Pokemon person. I played Red whenever it came out back in like high school. I played Y, I think. Yeah, Pokemon Y. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I'm not a big Pokemon person. I think they're kind of stupid games. I think they never did anything with them. They've kind of gone in the wrong direction, whole thing. But this video series, I'm sure I'll have plenty of time to complain about all that. I will be complaining about that so much. Thank God, I love to bitch about things. And Pokemon definitely enables me to do that, to just bitch endlessly about things. Fantastic. So, continue enjoying this title card, but I will read off for you all the various polls that I did. Oh God. On Twitter, I tried desperately to figure out a way of narrowing this down. Because I can't make a poll that has every goddamn Pokemon that they've made over the past 20 years now? It's been 20 years? No, 15 or something. I don't know, but it seems like it came out in Japan like 95 or something. So it's been a hot minute. So I tried to narrow this down by asking you what your favorite type was and what your favorite egg group was. Your favorite type, apparently 16%, is Ghost. 10% for fighting, 10% for fire, and then 8% each for Steel, Psychic, and Dragon. So, just looking at the top three, you really like Ghosts, you really like fighting types, and you really like fire types. I did some researching online. Fire types are very, very popular, except for in specific polls where they get, like, no votes. I can't make any sense out of it. Like, it just depends on what group of the section that you're asking on the internet. I don't know. But favorite egg group, 22% of you love dragon egg groups. Oh boy. Well, spoiler alert, you guys are going to be disappointed because I don't like dragons. I find no value in them. I did consider them, and I tried to work one in, but it didn't make it in. 16% human, 15% monster, 9% undiscovered, and 7% amorphous. Did you know that there's like... What was it? There's 3 different types for water. There's water 1, water 2, and water 3, but there's one fire type, and... Pokemon's fucking stupid. Okay, anyways. I went through the list on the Bulbapedia thing, just narrowing these things down, trying desperately to figure out which 3 of these horrible things can I slam together to make a new... I almost stabbed myself with my own tablet pen. Can I slam together to form a new horrible abomination creature? Oh, this was quite a journey. I kept going through and trying to look and combine these things like, alright, can I combine a dragon with something unorthodox like a ghost? Are there any ghost dragons? There's like one, and it's a legendary that I've never heard of before, and I never seen anyone talk about. There's obviously many fire dragons, that's for damn sure. But I hate fire dragons. Because, you know, they're trite and cliche. I can actually say that I have a least favorite Pokemon, and it's Charizard. Because everyone loves Charizard. Oh, what a special sweet princess he is. And he's just this fucking stereotypical pot-belly dragon. That's it, that's all he is. And then there's like Dragonite, who's the same thing. He's like an overweight cousin of Charizard's. I don't know why people like that shit. It's like garbage to me. Anyways, plenty of that to choose from, but I really wanted to have, like, a fire type is something else. I consider like Blaziken. I consider like a Delphox or something like that. People really like Broxton, but no one really likes Delphox. So, but without going into the specifics of all those things, there were so many. Oh my gosh, there were so many. I went through and I'm going crazy. There were so many, and it's already 5 minutes in the recording, for God's sakes. Title card, yes! So I eventually narrowed things down in the only way that I could. I decided I only have 2 Pokemon that I really would consider to be favorites. Just 2 of them. And that's it. And those 2 are probably, and I will make the title card vanish right about now. Woo! I don't know what that's the sound. I guess because we're talking about ghost types. That's the sound it makes. It's Gengar is probably my number 2. My number 1 is actually Broxton, just because, I don't know why, I think she's super cute. I really like the way that her little fur makes a little sundress. I think that's super adorable. And I think she's really emotive. I just really like her design for some reason. But I will not be using her. I couldn't really find a way to use her. I considered doing like Broxton, Haunter, and then another second evolution design. But there's like Pikachu, for example. Like he went into a Raichu, and then I thought, well, what's the third one? And it turns out they made one before that, Pichu, I think, where it's an imaginary one that you never saw in the original game. So actually, Pikachu is the second form, and for God's sakes, I'm not going to use Pikachu. So it turns out there's not many second forms like that. There's lots that sort of go 1, 2, and then it stops, and there's others that go like 1, 2, 3, but the famous one is like the second one that actually began as being the first one, like Pikachu, or no one cares about the first one, or usually people care about the first one and the third one, and no one gives a damn about the second one. So I couldn't figure out a way of doing that. I considered doing like a waifu fusion thing, where it would be like a Broxton, Gardevoir, and Lopunny, which would be the most obvious thing. I didn't really want to do just a straight up just, here's all the pretty sexualized thing. I didn't want to do one of those this time around. I know you guys desperately want to do, I don't know, but I didn't want to do it. Someone has already done that one. I did notice. It's not really a fusion exactly. It's more of a Neapolitan fusion, where he's kind of Frankensteining pieces together that I didn't really like. But I didn't want to be like, I'm gonna drag this thing off DeviantArt and take a big coiled up doo-doo on its face or something. I was gonna do something like that. Oh, Gatorade, save me. So, I should pretend this is like alcohol. I don't drink, but this kind of thing has made me want to. So I just kept trying to narrow these things down. I noticed that you guys also really like Gengar, and apparently you like Haunter a little bit more. I took another poll of which is better, Haunter or Gengar. After almost 1,200 votes, Haunter edged things out 54% over Gengar's 46%. But again, I couldn't really find much of a use for that second form, so I decided to just go with Gengar. I really wanted to carry over his smile. I thought that would fuse into other things really, really well and make some pretty interesting designs. Plus, it's not like he's like the shitty one or anything. Like, he's very, very popular in his own right, and again, he's one of my favorite ones. And I wanted to make sure that I at least got either Gengar or Broxton in one of these, because, just to keep myself sane, right? So, I decided since these 2 are so popular, I'll just use these 2, and with the third one, I couldn't really figure out a third one exactly. I was considering Garchomp for a long time, trying to work in that dragon angle, but fire is very popular, and I did want to work in a fire element, because I thought, if I want to have, like, fur kind of come off almost like flames or something like that, like, there's a lot of color variation that I could use. I could use a fire type for that reason. And I definitely was not doing Charizard, and Garchomp didn't really bring that. Garchomp is also pretty popular, but apparently he's kind of in an annoying state. Like, everyone uses him, so people are sick of looking at him. There's so many politics. I'm sure in the comment section below, as you continue looking at this title card that I actually took off already. But pretend that maybe it's back, I don't know. But I'm sure in the comment section, like, and see the waveform just screaming on Audacity right now. I don't care. I don't care what you have to say about it. I don't even care what I have to say about it. I'm just drawing things. The point of this is just how to fuse and for you guys to enjoy yourselves. Sit back and just grab your tiny penises and just beat your meat furiously like you're 12 years... Actually, probably all are 12. What am I talking about? Alright, let's get this fusion started. How about that? Don't mind the people in the comment section. Don't worry about them. They're not there. They're not there. It's only me. Just you and me. Sweet sexual me. Alright. That all said, I've done this twice already. The first time, I actually sat back and I thought, that was some good commentary for once. And I thought, that turned out pretty well. And then I found out that there was no video. And I was angry. And then I did it again. And it did the same thing. There was no video because of that problem. And in that one, I was like, well, the commentary wasn't as exceptional as it was the first time. But it was almost as good. So I'm not too angry. And then I lost both of them. So now I'm just angry. I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to insult you jacking off with your tiny penis or whatever because I don't care. I'll ruin my own video. It doesn't matter. What am I talking about? Okay. But first off, I'm not going to be doing a God of War this first video. Probably appropriate considering the quality of this video. I don't know what the hell is going on myself. I'm sure you're not either. But we're going to combine Gengar, and we're going to combine Arcanine. Why am I pointing with my fingers? You guys can't see that. Or can you? No, you can't. Okay. I will also mention that there is a site that is very commonly known. Alexon Sager, or something like that. I don't know how it's actually read out. .net. Very commonly known thing. Where it takes sprites and slams them together. I'll mention this briefly. Like, it takes the face from the first slot and the color from the first slot and then puts those on top of the second sprite. So, if, like, we're taking Gengar and Arcanine here, it would take Arcanine's body, paint it purple, and then slap Gengar's face on top of it. And some of them actually don't look too bad. You know, if they actually line correctly and everything. I mean, it's generated content, so there's no way of controlling this. It looks really bad on this one. It looks bad. And if you invert them so that it's actually Arcanine's color and everything placed on top of Gengar, it looks even worse. It's not good. It's not. Okay, but I thought I would mention that just in case you're like standing up. I'm actually standing up and going crazy. In case any of you are in the comments doing that, you know, there's that too. Okay. I'm sure lots of you are like, it's 15 minutes ago. I don't care about that either. You know, get wrecked, I guess, as the children say. All right, now with this fusion of these two abominations, there's two things you can do. I'm going to demonstrate both of them. There is sort of a right and wrong on how to fuse. The last two times I recorded this, I gave this example of, you gotta look at, like, for example, how to draw, like, the eye on Gengar here, or how to draw the eye on Arcanine. You have to look at exactly how the lines are drawn in the first place. There's shape, there's space apart, blah, 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 blah. And then once you do that, once you get that idea down, look at, like, for example, the top line. Like this line up here, for the very top of the eye. There is also this line on Gengar. So whenever we fuse things together, this is the simplest way of doing it. There is sort of a right and wrong to doing fusions. Like, you don't just do whatever the hell you want to with this fusion. This is kind of part exercise. I mean, if you want to just draw whatever, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you, as long as you're enjoying yourself. But as far as using this as like an exercise, there is a right... And like, even if you're just doing it for fun, but you still want to be accurate or something like that, then this is the best way of doing it. Like, for example, Arcanine's eye, the top line for his eye is this sweeping downward line like this. Gengar's is more of a, from the same point, would be more like, whoop, More like, yeah, like that. More of a the straight down. So whenever you do a fusion, you just look at these two lines and go, well, I'll just draw what's in between them, just like you're animating. So you end up doing something that's like that. That is actually, you know, not quite straight down. It's not a straight diagonal. It's more of just a sweeping line like that. And you kind of just do that with every single line that you see everywhere. And if you do that, then you're like 95% done, probably. Like, it's pretty easy in its own way. There's not too much to really worry about. There is problem solving, but it's not that bad. And this is where the creativity part of it comes in. So to that end, especially with these two, he's bipedal. He's a quadruped. He has 4 puppy feet. Big, stupid puppy feet. I picked Arcanine, by the way, because I noticed in polls, he was very, very popular. And also, I don't really have a third favorite, and I don't really care about the fire types. Fire's not really a big thing with me. But he is a big, puffy, silly puppy. And I figured, you know what? His lines and a lot of his elements of his design, I could use those to change the elements on the other designs and make them more interesting. So I picked him for that reason, you know, because he's a fire type, etc., popular, blah, blah, blah. I thought, that is the safest thing. If you have something to complain about, say it in the comments so I can ignore it. I will never read it. Ha! Take that, internet. Alright, so whenever we're combining these two, we can either start with Gengar as a base or start with Arcanine as a base. I'm going to start with Arcanine as a base because all the other designs are going to be bipedal. Like Gengar and Gardevoir are going to be bipedal. Whenever you fuse these two, you're going to end up with a bipedal design. Whenever you fuse these two, it's possible we're going to get a quadruped. This is going to be the most challenging, probably. That's going to be rough. But this one will probably also be more based on her. But I wanted at least one quadruped in there so that I had enough variety to be able to pick and choose what I wanted from the final design. Alright. So, Arcanine is a base. First thing we do, look at their various shapes. Arcanine, body shape, sort of like weird little pear shapes. And I remember some of this from our prior videos that kept failing, that made me want to kill someone. So now this is kind of easy in a way, but not really at all. Kind of just makes me want to strangle someone just doing it for the 3rd or 4th time already. Actually more than that, because there was a few times where I stopped and restarted. So now I'm just angry again because I'm remembering things. I see why people drink. Alright. So, body shape kind of like this. It's not really that important that you want to be accurate to the line and everything, but it's more important to recognize the shapes and everything. Alright, so he has a body shape that's sort of like this. His head is weird. He doesn't have a defined head because it's just big poofy puffy poof going everywhere and every which way. Gengar kind of has little spike hair like that too, so we can use that. And without getting too ahead of myself, we can also use the fact that his shape is ill-defined to incorporate Gengar's head as well. But since Gengar is so stout, like he's basically just a big angry grape with little stubby arms, right? Not a lot to him. He doesn't he doesn't have a skull. He doesn't have a torso. He doesn't have a head. He's just an angry ball. So how do you combine an angry ball with this thing? This is one of the reasons why I wanted to start with Arcanine as a base, especially with this design. So how I'm going to actually handle this is I'm going to take his form and kind of make it more resemble this in the sense of make it a little bit more stout looking. So instead of it being like this line here, being very curved and going over to a saucy rump right there, I bet that would be delicious with some Worcestershire. Instead, I will do like a gorilla sort of shape in a way. Or what other animals? Like a bison. Like a bison. It's kind of like that as well. Where it's a bit thicker. Shape is less defined, has less curvature. Just more muscular looking. And since he has very stubby arms, we'll kind of redo the arms, except they'll be much shorter. Like the feet will end about right here. And we'll try to incorporate Gengar's little claws here too. And it'll be something like this. And well, let's widen out the arms as well a little bit to give it that extra stout looking kind of visual. And to that end, we'll turn him into a monstrous version of Arcanine that looks sort of like Gengar, but not too terribly like Gengar. And that should be about it in terms of working out the design to that end. Doesn't look too bad. I think I will spread it out a little bit. It kind of has a King Kong kind of appearance to it, doesn't it? Spread it out a little bit, make it look a little bit thicker, a little bit more angry and visceral and filled with hatred. You know, sort of like I am. Sort of like that. That way, we can kind of cheat and get both designs at the same time. There's multiple ways of handling this, but this is how I'm going to handle it. You can come up with your own solutions. There are multiple solutions, but there is also sort of a right and wrong. You don't want to take too much leadway. It's more art than rules in this case, so don't worry about it too much. Just enjoy yourself, but also try to get it right, you know. You can sort of get it wrong. I'm not going to tell you, oh, you're not going to worry too much about that. So enjoy yourself, but you're also wrong, I guess, is my lesson. Right, so I am only right. This is the lesson here. All right, good. All right, so we have a body shape that's sort of like this. Not lean like Arcanine's, a bit more muscular. Obviously, you can see where I'm getting the Gengar in here, where it's a lot thicker, but his shape is less defined. It's kind of an intermediate between his shape and his shape, is what I'm getting at. Good. Alright. Arcanine, his head is not really defined on his shape. Like, he doesn't have a circular head. You look at him and you assume that it's going to be like a puppy head. Because he's got the puppy body. He's got the puppy power, right? Remember that? Remember puppy power? No, you guys don't remember that. Anyways, so how exactly do you incorporate Gengar's no head, no body, everything with the head of Arcanine? You just draw Arcanine's head and just put a Gengar face on it? That's one way you could do it. But the way that I figured out 2 videos in a row, and now 3, why am I raising my hands in the air, is to try to incorporate the little spiky nature of it and kind of almost use it as a lion's mane to sort of bring it down so that I'm not actually drawing like his head flat like this, but just to get the shape down. So draw it sort of more like this, where there's no real defined neck. And actually, I can probably pull this down a little bit, sort of like that. So you end up with sort of a shape like this, where you can imagine it having a neck, but in terms of its basic silhouette, it doesn't really have one. And that's the easiest way to sort of cheat in something like that. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of this detail in here, just to make it look a little bit more natural. And up here, let's include Gengar's little spiky hair that he has. We can always spike this up a little bit more. You don't want it to be as spiky as Arcanine. You want it to be spikier than this, not as spiky as this. Intermediates, right? Alright, so we get something like this, kind of. And you may look at this, I hate that plague. I hate it! I don't care. I don't care. And remember, there is right and wrong to this. So if you come up with something that works, but you don't like the look of it, that's that's the price of doing fusions. You know, it's not always going to be something that's like, it's better than both the things I like. Wow, it always works. It's always Reese's. It's not always Reese's. It doesn't always work. But I actually kind of like this. So, fuck you, I guess, is the lesson. I'll Bob Ross it and say I'll do my own happy little trees, and if you don't like them, I will kill you. No, I won't kill you, but, you know, I'll totally kill you, though. Alright, so intermediate between the ears. Gengar has kind of this triangular motif, if you notice. Like, if you drew the lines a little bit differently, he would almost look like an owl. You ever think about that? the way that it comes down from his ears, he would look very owl-like. It would be, if I was combining him with an owl Pokemon, it would be pretty damn easy. Assuming it looked even remotely similar to that. I don't think there's many owl Pokemon. Too bad. I really like owls. Owls are one of the few birds that I actually can stand. And they're symbols of wisdom. They're actually really stupid. Like, owls are notoriously very dumb. I love them. I love owls. They're so stupid. They're like sky kittens. Remember whenever PETA was trying that bullshit where they were like, you don't want to kill fish, they're like sea kittens. And everyone got in an uproar. It's like, fuck you! Fuck you with your fucking sea kittens. Suck my dick. The whole world was like that. And like PETA's like, alright, no. Guess we'll go back to murdering animals and then claiming what we're doing is pure and wholesome. You know how they are, those rascals. So whenever we're combining the ears here, the intermediate between the two of these is, you notice Arcanine's ears are kind of just perfect diamonds, in a way. Whereas Gengar's are just straight up triangles. So how do you resolve that? You make a spearhead, where it's not really a triangle, it's not really a diamond, it's something in between. So you get something sort of like that. And I can fill it in with Arcanine. Arcanine has more detail on him. I guess the reason why Gengar doesn't have much detail is because he's supposed to be a ghost. I'll repeat that. Gengar is supposed to be a ghost. He's an angry grape. Like, I can't imagine him having, like, muscle structure or a skull or anything, but I don't believe he's a ghost. I think he's an angry wad of like, flesh. I don't know. He's a weirdo. That's what I like about him. He's unique. He's unique. He's beautiful. Beautiful. Alright. So, got the ears. Now I want to get the eyes down. The face on this is going to be kind of more like this. I'll go ahead and do this real fast. This is where the eye line is probably going to be maybe a little bit more up here, I guess. Yeah, this bit right. You don't have to do this part or anything. Just, you know, plan. Make sure that you plan. Like, you don't want to just be like, "Boo! Boo!" And you can be like, if you want. I'm not going to stop you. Do what you feel, man. Do what you feel. But remember our thing from before, how do you combine the two eyes, the eye lines? It's pretty easy. You don't want to draw Arcanine's eyes straight up. Like, if we drew Gengar's eyes, it would be sort of like this. Like, it would be like these lines right here, probably, the ridge right on there. But remember, Arcanine's is kind of more sloped. So let's slope this. God's sakes. Hate how size switches between things. Like, I'm not even using the lasso, but ever so often you'll see that whenever I turn my pen upside down to use the eraser, all of a sudden it's a lasso. And all of a sudden, sometimes it's also like, look at that, I did it again. I turned it upside down, and now it's my draft brush. For no reason. It switched from being a eraser to a draft brush. For no reason. I didn't even perform an input. It just does that. It does it all the time, too. It drives me crazy. And you're like, that didn't happen. Like, shut up, it did. I've used this fucking thing for no telling how goddamn long. You're not gonna tell me it didn't happen when I know it happened. Alright. So, we have that intermediate between... Both of their eyes don't really have anything here. Like, there's no line here. It sort of just ends right here in a sheer corner. And the same with Gengar, kind of. It kind of, you know, has a little overlap, but you get what I'm saying. So, whenever we're doing that, we also need to do it like this, so that it joins perfectly with the other line that we drew. Make sure it unites in a way that actually makes sense. So we get something that looks sort of like that. Alright, no! Eraser, stop it! Damn you. Damn you! Alright. Alright, we got our eyes. I'm gonna say the nose for last, because the nose is going to be the most problematic component of this, because, he ain't got no nose. He ain't got no nose. Arcanine, he got himself a puppy nose. Big, wet puppy nose. So, first off, let's just take care of the mouth. Gengar, I really wanted to carry over his mouth. You don't have to. Like, you could, oh, Lord, excuse me. You could, like, combine the mouths in such a way that it's more like this, that would be really weird, where you lose the more defined shape of Arcanine's kind of muzzle mouth. You lose it completely and just go for a straight up just Gengar mouth, and have it be sort of a much smaller smile. You could do that. That's one way that you could find a solution for that. But for me, I'm going to kind of just use this kind of muzzle shape and give this a little bit more definition. So instead of just doing a straight up line like this, yeah, instead of like that, I will sort of start out with the muzzle shape, make it a little bit less defined by making it a little bit more sloped, so that you can't really... It's more subtle. The way that the line moves is a little bit more subtle. And that's probably the best way of doing an intermediate of those two, while retaining Gengar's weird, big, dumb, I'm a crazy monster man mouth. Easiest way of doing it. Yes, sir. Alright. We do this. Carry over this bottom lip. Actually, since he's much larger, I could probably get away with making it a little bit too large. So like that, yeah. Yeah. And Gengar, for some reason, Gengar doesn't... What the fuck is... What are you, Gengar? Gengar's got, like, piano key teeth, and he doesn't... Like, there's no line here. He's just got, like, an upper row teeth, or bottom row. I don't know which it is. What the fuck? But he doesn't have a line here, is what I'm getting at. I don't know what's going on there, but it's nothing good. Nothing good can come of that. Arcanine, meanwhile, has his little puppy teeth, like this, like vampire teeth. So he has triangular teeth, whereas Gengar has his dumb piano teeth, big squares. Way around that, instead of doing this and just carrying it over straight from Gengar, just add a little bit more like this, to where it looks more like a... It looks like I don't want it to be that strong, actually. Let's start from the center. That'd be the easiest way of doing this. Let's start from the center so it doesn't look so bizarre. I'm not sure which is going to start up and which is going to start down. Like, instead of doing this W shape like this, I could do it as an M shape, is what I mean. Yeah, that'd probably be easier, I guess. And so we end up with something like that. Okay, that'd be an intermediate of those two. Now the nose. Oh, the nose. Actually, first, I want to point this out. Arcanine's weird. Not as weird as Gengar, but Arcanine's kind of weird. You know, like, this is all his, like, skin fur, like the basic shit. But this is like the premium shit around his face. Like, these are like actually, this is the same hair as his pubic hair. It's going down there. Or her pubic hair. Oh, goodness. And it also is on its ankles, but not its wrists. Not its wrists. Only the back of the leg on this. And also, like, the chest, and it goes up and around. But point being, there's a mask right here, where the fur just stops. Like, it doesn't exist here. So it looks really weird. Like, the more you look at this, the more it looks like Arcanine is, like, wearing a hoodie or something like that, if you really think about it. Like, imagine him taking this off. Why am I doing my hands again? Like, imagine someone pulled off the fur, like there's a zipper, and just pulled it off, and there'd be nothing but, like, it would be the same head, but it would be orange now. It's weird. It's really strange. I'm going to be so angry if this recording does not go through this time. I will be livid, beyond livid. Okay, anyways. The point being, he has this little mask. A line comes from the kind of point on his ear where that meets, down to where his nose is, and from the bottom of this ear line to the same point. Right? Okay. Now, I spent like 5 minutes tapping, like, why do I do this? I'm a stupid man from Kentucky. I don't know what I'm doing. And I eventually figured out, you know what? I don't have to draw a nose. Hello, everyone. I'm from Tumblr. I'm so unique. I don't know what my gender is. Okay, but we can actually use this to our advantage to make sort of a nose where there isn't a nose. We could do something like that. Well, that doesn't look optimal, but I would do it differently. Bah, bah. I'm sure you would. I don't care. So, we end up with something a bit more like that. We don't actually have to use that other line. But I'll carry it over for the time being just in case. But we can end up with something like that. Much smaller nose, and we can get away with it not looking quite like the same thing while also being the same thing. That's as much of an intermediate as you can get between having no nose at all and a big puppy dog nose. So, last thing probably be the tail. Gengar has his little dumpy tail right here. You know how humans are born with tails sometimes? You know, from whenever we used to have tails? The thing is, like, the way, you know, you draw like a humanoid, like a big butt right here. Yeah. Look at me with my boobs here, too. And we always draw, like, the tail coming out here. It wouldn't actually work that way because, you know, our spines are here and they go kind of like this, but the tail is a continuation of the spine. So you think, well, we'll just move this part right here and put it like here. But you can't do that because, like, there's muscles here that connect to the, coccyx? I can't remember what the exact name of the bone is. And that controls your pooping. Like, you can't poop unless you have that bone right there for something to join to. So it's pretty much impossible for something to be bipedal and also have that tail like that. Plus, if you're actually drawing the tail realistically, since the bone comes all the way down here, it'd probably like be coming like right out by the asshole. Like right smack dab, and there'd be like poop on it all the time, and you'd have to clean the underside. Whew! Who doggy? Alright, but let's not worry about that. Let's not worry about poop things. Let's draw his eyes real fast, by the way. Gengar has these little slit eyes like this. Arcanine has kind of eyes like this, where the iris is white, but the pupil... Oh, the crap, I can't remember the name of the cilia. The cilia is, actually, no. The cilia is white, and his is orange, but his, the thing around it, the iris, whatever, is, black. I can't remember that. Can't remember my terms today. I did that perfectly the last 2 videos. This is why you don't want to do 3. This is why you don't want that. It's bad. Alright. But I will resolve that by doing this, where it's kind of the same thing as Arcanine's, except it's much smaller and more resembling Gengar's. That's the way around that. Okay, but tail. Arcanine, big poofy puppy tail. Gengar has a tail like this, though. So there's not much of a way around that. You kind of just have to do something like that. I've done this like 3 times now. I can never quite get it the way that I want it to be. But it would look something sort of like that. I guess another way of doing it, I haven't really thought about this until now, would be to make it not kind of, make it slope down to the same angle that Gengar's does, but keep the poofiness of it. Then you kind of lose the fact that it's actually another way that you could do this. Make it sort of like a Samoyed. I think this is a breed that I'm getting right. Could be getting wrong, though. My grandmother used to have a Samoyed, if I'm thinking of that correctly. Usually white dogs. They have these really, really curly tails. His name was, No, that wasn't his name. She had one that was named Booger. And then she had the Samoyed whose name was something else, and I can't remember what his name was. It wasn't as funny. I don't remember. But anyways, easiest way around this, just make it smaller. Kind of like that, maybe. Yeah, that's not too bad. More importantly, like, you could do almost anything with combining these 2 very different kinds of tails. But I mainly just wanted to make it look interesting. And that's probably the most interesting I'm gonna get it, I guess. Alright, last things last. Whatever that means, I don't fucking know. Add little things on the back of the legs. Since this is a fusion, I will include this top line, but I can make these like little boots right here. I know neither one of these are like this, but we're already congesting the design enough. And, you know, losing a single line, like right here, whenever Arcanine has it, it's not that big of a deal. Makes it a little bit more interesting. makes it with the fusion more of its own thing without cheating really too much one way or the other. But either way, you want to make sure that the these little puffs that you're putting on the back of the legs. I need to stop hitting my mic whenever I'm turning my pen over. Is not as big as Arcanine's little poofs are back here. Okay, at least it hasn't been making it go to a lasso or a racer lately, which has been driving me crazy. Alright. And let's put right here a little finishing touch. Kind of has a little line mane going on. And we can carry over the lines if we want to. We don't need to. And I imagine that either way, they're not going to show up as heavily. And Gengar doesn't have any of these sort of stripes at all, one way or the other, so... if we do color this the same way, it's probably going to be sort of marginally different. Like it'll be sort of like a very light purple on top of dark purple, that sort of thing. It won't be as dramatic. It won't have as high a contrast, since it's going to be an intermediate one way or the other. Alright, there we go. That's pretty much it. So, just take things one step at a time, and you'll eventually get through with it. As far as color goes, you know, this will be forward in the video, but we could either make it purple, we could have a purple Arcanine, basically, or we could find a intermediate between purple and orange. But I'll go on about that later on, assuming this video exports correctly. Woo! I can't wait for that. I can't wait to end this video and see a 1 kilobyte file again, even though I've tested this like 16 times in a row to make sure it never does that again. If it does, I will be very, very angry. And you won't be hearing this audio because I will have to delete it because there's no video corresponding to it. And I will be extra livid because of that, because I've already complained about this once before. I will be super angry. That's the lesson here. I will be a very Bob Ross angry analog. I will not be painting happy trees. I'll be painting very angry trees. So, this is one. There we go. It looks pretty nice, doesn't he? Or her, or zer. No, I'm not doing that shit. But, looks pretty good, actually, I think. I like the result of that. Looks very interesting. Looks like it doesn't look like an Arcanine too much. You can tell that it's based off of it. You can tell that it's based off Gengar, but it kind of looks like its own thing. Looks pretty good. I kind of like the look of that. Alright, you go over here. Now, I will more quickly show you the other route that we could have taken. Where it's the same thing, except we use more of a base of Gengar. We focus on it being bipedal. And to that end, same kind of deal. Same exact sort of thing. Just a little less time-consuming, and I've done this twice. I come up with two kind of different results. Like, we're going to have the same solutions that we did in the prior one. Like, you know, same line kind of moves, same solutions for the pupils, that sort of thing. Same spearhead sort of looking ears. You know, basically the same exact thing. We're just going to draw it with a slightly different body, with slightly different proportions, to make it clear that it is bipedal in nature. Yes. Yes. Quite good. Quite good. Good, sir. Alright. And we can do a slightly different mouth on this one. I think we'll keep the... Yeah, I'll keep the grin. Because otherwise, comparing the two might be a little bit weird. I've already shown you that one time before anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Same kind of deal here. Now some of you might be like, I prefer that one. Well, you're wrong. I made myself laugh because I'm right. Alright, but, you know, it's just like this. Same kind of poofiness. It's going to look pretty weird. Like, it's going to end up looking like kind of fuzzier. Like, his face kind of looks more like a Haunter now. But it's going to look like a... It's going to look really strange because now he has to have a actual body. Like, he can't just be a big ball now. He actually has to have, like, a chest and stuff. And that's going to be extra weird. And this is kind of drawn at a perspective, so it's going to look kind of even more bizarre than you would think it would look. Sort of like that. I'm going to change the perspective on this slightly so I can see more of it. So let's bring its arms down some. Not a lot you can do with his arms in this case. They're going to have to be longer than Gengar's arms because, again, intermediates. Oh no, when you made them shorter. Think about it. Think about it for like a second. We're using Gengar as a base now, so if we're doing intermediates, it's obviously going to be the other way around. Well, I don't get it. Well, you're an idiot. Oh, I don't know. Like I fucking care. If I had children, I would abuse them. Emotionally. Like I was. That's how I became how I am today. From emotional abuse. Lots and lots of emotional abuse. And being born during a time of great poverty and drought in an area in which there were lots of farmers. So everyone was moving and selling things. Lots of emotional abuse. That's how you become a great artist. Or in my case, a mediocre one. Made myself laugh again. Alright, again, want to make sure that he has a little bit of a torso. I can use this to sort of obscure it so it's not too bad. But have the legs sort of look like that, I guess, is the best way of doing this. And I've done this multiple times, and I've never quite liked the look exactly every time that I've done it. But I'm trying to do this off memory and off eye rather than worrying too much about it. And let's see, same line work, same general premise with that. Like that. Same deal with the nose too. Remember that, where it comes down. It's sort of like that. Almost, you know what he looks like? He looks like a Yordle from League of Legends. That's what he looks like. I hate League of Legends. It's a casual shit. I know. I know lots of you people on V are probably watching this, masturbating and shit posting about things right now. I know you hate everything. You're such special little princesses. And you're always right about everything, even though you're always wrong. Alright. Add the stripes in there. Avoid where... Actually, I can carry this down to the crotchal area. Get it around that way. Add some generic stripes in. Not going to be too exact with this one. And you add something that looks like this. Let's shrink him down a little bit so that we can get a better comparison to the two of them. And this one would actually probably be a little bit smaller. But yeah, he does look a lot like a Yordle now. It's really weird. I would play that Yordle. He doesn't look too bad. But you can tell why I went with a quadruped design. Like, this is, it's fine. I'm sure lots of people would prefer it, I guess. But this, to me, looks more interesting. This one looks a little more generic because it's basically just... It's just this little stout, generic bipedal design covered in a lot of fur. Whereas this one looks a lot more bizarre because it looks like it's supposed to be a dog or something, but it has that fucked up Gengar face. So, that's how you do. That how it do. They don't be like it do, but they do how it was, whatever the fuck that man said. Alright, so I'll be carrying over this one in the future. We'll skip ahead, and I will continue complaining about Pokemon and other things, I'm certain. If this video even comes out the way it's supposed to. Who knows? This is 48 minutes long. The last two were like 34 minutes or something, but I spent so much time complaining this time around. I don't care. You guys don't care either. Alright. But flash forward, we're going to be doing... I'll probably do maybe like one more primary draft on the big guy here. Might do... Nah, I won't do two this time. The other two were rougher than this one was, because I knew more what I was doing with this one. Line work, I will talk about color in the post-commentary, and I will probably also jerk off now that I'm done with this, and eat some chicken. So, I'm not being serious, I won't actually eat chicken. But, flash forward, I hope you guys enjoyed the live commentary. I'm still angry, and I will probably be even more angry as soon as I click this off button, so... Assuming you guys hear this, thanks for watching. take it away, future me, or not. Who knows? Goodbye. Oh boy, did past Eli have it good. And well, okay, maybe it was just as bad, but yeah, it turns out that Bandicam has other issues as well. Turns out I have to use Handbrake to be able to fix Bandicam's fuck-ups. Because for some reason, whenever I put this file into Power Director, then it had wildly flickering video whenever I increased the frame rate for some bizarre reason. I think it's because Bandicam decided that it didn't want to use 1920 by 1080, and instead decided to use I can't remember what it is. It's like 1080 by 720, but it's not exporting it correctly. I don't know. I thought it was a codec issue, but apparently not. I don't know. I'm getting really tired of it, Bandicam. And no, I am not going to use OBS. For God's sakes, people recommending that on Twitter apparently have never actually used OBS to try to record anything before. Sending something out in OBS is a lot different, streaming it, than trying to record flawless quality. It creates immensely huge files if you're actually trying to make a recording that actually looks like something that's presentable. So it can't do that. And that, what the hell's that thing? Shadow play? Yeah, that thing's going to destroy your computer just as easily as it's going to help your computer. So, of all the things that I feel like having to go into Mortal Kombat with, I guess Bandicam is the one that I actually know that I can beat in a fight. So, that's the reason why I'm not gonna deal with it today. Anyways, yeah, I went over this one more time with one more primary. And as you can see, I needed to, because there were some alignment issues that I couldn't get around, blah blah blah. Nothing overly interesting. Oh, Lord. I need a drink. This should be brandy or something. What do you drunks drink? Probably something like that, yeah. But no, it's just water for me. Oh, Lord. Okay, thankfully there's not a whole lot to talk about here in regards to just drawing the damn thing. So maybe I'll just... I don't know, I'm not really in the mood to talk about Pokemon now, that's for sure, but I'll do it anyways. I'll tell you something about my experiences playing Pokemon. I don't play Pokemon much. Like I said, I play Red and I played Y. Yes. My experience with Pokemon, I will tell this story. Over the last, let's see, 3-4 years now, whatever it's been, however long I've had Y, is I decided, once I had beaten Y, what do I do with the game now? I decided, you know what, I think I'll breed a perfect team the way that I want them to be, right? So I decided, for some reason, I remember now, I decided to breed some perfect Eevees. Because I knew that they could, transition into very, many different kinds of Pokemon. And I could use those whenever I was doing online egg trading. That way, if someone wanted a perfect IV Sylveon or Umbreon or something, then I would have access to all those things because it would be easy to make one, right? So, I set upon this long journey to do so, and found out pretty quickly, Eevees have a 12.4 or something % rate of getting a female, which you think, well, that's not too bad. I mean, because, how's that going to negatively impact you, right? Ha ha ha, foolish me in the past. So, flash forward to today, where, for the past 3 or something years, anytime I've ever played the game, what I'll do is I'll load up in front of the guy that gives you the eggs, right? And bike around, and I know that you need completely new ones. It's not like I've been getting the same ones for 3 years. I definitely know that. I would bike around until he started giving me eggs, and then I would, do the whole dime under the analog stick trick. to go in a big circle in the main city so that they would all hatch. And here we get to the color stage finally. And, you know, just hope that I would get a perfect 4IV female. I've managed to get a perfect 4IV male, and I have a 3IV, perfect 3IV female. So I've just been hoping to get a perfect 4 female this whole time, and I've never gotten one. So for the past 3 or whatever years it's been, that's all I've done. Just load up the game, you know, play for like an hour or however long it takes, where and I did decide to add the stripes. It looked a little bit too blank without it. I load up the game, I get these fucking eggs, and then I just ride around inside of a circle, or ride back and forth first and then ride around a circle, because that's the technique, right? And then I get probably, let's see, I usually get a full box of these things, and I have a little system where I put the ones that I got first, the eggs that I was riding around with first, all in the same row, so that I know which ones actually line with one another, so that they all hatch at relatively the same time, in order to save time, because I'm so clever. And after I do this, I just go around doing each row over and over again, and checking to see if they're going to be female or not. And I don't check all of them. Like, I could be getting 5 IV males by now, but there's no way for me to bother wasting all my time doing that. I used to do that, but I definitely stopped. And I just check and see which ones are female. And usually I get, like, either 0 out of a full box. A full fucking box. Because of that 12.4 bullshit. You either get 0 females, or I think the most I've ever gotten, like, is 4. But usually you get, like, either 2 or 3 at most. So you go through, you take them to the guy that tells you what they are, and every single time it's always... It's almost always 3, but I've gotten some 2s as well. I have never gotten a 4. So that's my experience playing, you know, Pokemon at the highest level. Deciding I will make a team of my own, and being stopped dead in my tracks, because the game does not want that. And I guess I'll have a lot more to say about Pokemon's idiotic obsession with making sure that no one can have a perfect something. No, everything needs to be unique. It's the fact that things are imperfect that gives them their true personality, right? Yeah. That's what makes the game worth playing. How dare you try to have a team that actually works correctly? And so it's gotten to the point where players ignore the system entirely and use external programs to just cheat those statistics onto their little animals so that they can just get them. And whenever people have these quote-unquote real tournaments, the real, like, PvP tournaments are so fucking stupid. Because just in order to have them, players have to agree on lists of which Pokemon are, like, rarely used and underused and overused. These are real rankings. Just in order to be able to, fight one another on an even level. Because the game is so broken. Like, the game is full of sweepers and shit that will just clear your entire team without ever trying. It's fucking stupid. But anyways, yeah, that's my experience. Like, the game is obsessed with stupid shit like that. So whenever I talk about Pokemon as an actual game, it either has to be casual nonsense or back-breaking labor that leads to nothing. So I don't have a very high opinion of Pokemon itself. So, there you go. Alright, we're finally done with, I was talking on stream last night. I think this is not going to be his name, but I made a joke of maybe I should name him, Argagar. I thought that would be pretty funny. But good old Argagar here. Here we have him. He ended up looking, pretty good, I think. I kind of like the way that he turned out. One thing I kind of ran into with him, though, is that whenever, I'm doing this, I noticed that it's kind of hard to, maybe it's just me, because I'm so used to doing detail work, but I did notice it was kind of hard to get around the fact that these designs don't have a lot of detail. So it was actually pretty, I could make them pretty fast, but I was kind of concerned about them looking too generic and too boring looking. But, I actually like the way that he turned out. The important thing whenever you're doing these fusions is to make the result look like its own entity. You want it to look as natural as you possibly can make it look, considering that you're abiding by rules and whatnot. And at the same time, you want to make sure that it doesn't look like one thing cosplaying as another thing. And to me, this, if there was any problem with it, I would say it looks a little bit too much like an Arcanine that has a menacing face, I guess. But considering the alternative that we are working with, there's only so much you can do. The only thing that I really could have done otherwise, and I actually considered doing this, is to match the color palette way more closely to Gengar. Like right now, it's sort of an in-between. I didn't talk too much about that, but I decided that this sort of purplish pink was as close to an orange plus a purple as I was going to get. And it afforded me some variation in the fur tones and whatnot. But if I had made him just straight up purple, I think it would have just been way too boring looking. Like, I kind of briefly played around with the idea, but I thought, well, it works for Gengar because Gengar doesn't have any detail. He's just an orb that has an angry face on it, right? So you don't have to worry about the fact that he doesn't have stripes. He doesn't have any lines differentiating areas of his body. He doesn't have any body components. Like, those are the things that would normally break up detail. So you don't want to have... Like, there's a reason a lot of Pokemon have these weird lines going everywhere. Like, you'll see that in Gardevoir later on, where she has kind of just lines going into her chest that don't seem to mean anything. And she has the big, stupid spike on her chest that otherwise would have no reason to be there. Like, why is that there? It's there to fill out detail and to create balance in the design. I don't really need that with Gengar because, he's just a face, basically. So he can get away with being a single color. You can't really do that with a design like this, so if you're wondering, how come it looks like that? That's the reason why. That's the reason why I did it the way that I did. Okay. Moving on to the next ones, I guess. Oh, I haven't killed myself enough as it is. Hopefully, in the future, this won't be as bad with Bandicam and all these technical issues. Ever since I got the new PC, I haven't done a lot of recording, because I haven't done a video game LP yet. So I guess I haven't run into it too much. It seems like I did it doesn't matter. Alright, but let's move on. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do next. It's either going to be, of course, I've already done Gengar plus Arcanine here. I'm either going to do Gengar plus Gardevoir, or Gardevoir plus Arcanine. And, I don't know. I guess I'll surprise you. You'll see in the playlist whenever you come across this years later. Alright, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed me losing my mind, as usual. I'll have a lot more to complain about in regards to Pokemon in the future. Please tell me in the comments how much you enjoy my story about how much I hate raising EVs and how it does not work and how the game is a bunch of fucking bullshit and how Game Freak has no idea what they're doing whatsoever and this is the only game that ever took off for them. So they're just a bunch of milking fucking cowards that can't do anything right. Yay! Alright. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.